Okay. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It has been a while. Yeah. I know, big sad, no music today. So sorry about that. I don't exactly have everything all in order just yet. So we are all on our own steam in terms of what we are putting in our ears. But that is, we're just gonna have to do. We're just gonna have to go on our own steam on that. Because unfortunately, May did not exactly go as I would have liked it to go. And with that, there have been various degrees of chaos, and it is just insane. Krahazik, good morning, how are you doing? Also, I really hope that my microphone isn't doing the horrible static thing again. Because, ish. Oh, man. I'm still working on getting a microphone that's not attached to my head. It's in process. I'm just getting assistance from Drifter on that topic, and unfortunately, he has been very, very, very ill the last couple of days. My parents have been ill. I have been managing, but you sound okay to me? Oh man. Yeah. I am holding it together. My throat is scratchy, but I am trying to stop myself from getting the whole nose and the cough and everything. Because I know I'm a solid 2 weeks behind my mom, for example, in terms of the sick cycle. And unfortunately, it just ties up just so that I need to speak like a machine gun on both Monday and Tuesday. Rapid fire, giving my last lectures in an annual chaos trip that have to do with past life work in the upcoming days. So, yes, there is that happening. So, I've had to try and stay healthy, but it's not been easy. That we do our best. We do our best. And that's all we can do, really, is what we can. And I'm just going to switch into the actual streaming screen because we can chat while working. So here we are, and Cat, come, get on the lap. I know you want to, because why I'm wearing the fluffy thing. There we go. So yes, Lap has just been taken over by Chaos himself, but that is fine. Yes, the last month has just been chaos of the absolute highest order. Everything has been happening all at once, and it's been a month. And fortunately, last night we managed to get the nightmare dragon out of the way for the most part. My game plan was to work on a little niggle on its teeth that still need a little bit of attention on my end. But a half an hour and a little bit of ballet tape later, and I'll have that sorted. I've just been not 100% in my full faculties the last 3 days. So it's just been, yeah, it's been mad. But sadly, deadlines wait not for the weak, and we have much to do on this animation. So I've started the inking process. We've managed to get a couple of frames inked. I still need to open up my references. Hold on. Over here. Open you. Drop you on this side. And yes, let's pull this across real quick. So I've got much to do still in terms of the inking of this thing. The deadline on this is the 15th, so that leaves me with 8. Tomorrow doesn't exist. So I've got 1, 2, 3 days. I've got 3 days to work on this thing and finish it. No pressure. No pressure at all. So yeah, hopefully my brain will stay in one piece long enough for us to actually get somewhere with this. So I was busy when I stopped working with the easy parts, which is the Affogato hand and the coat, basically the torso bits, inking those out as a starting point. So that's where we're at the moment, is inking that out and then getting everything else as it happens. So let me just see. Egg. I think for a start we need to hydrate, because I am realizing right now that that is desperately necessary. Oh my word. Pardon. I got hit by a sudden wave of thirstiness that was absolutely insane. So let us continue. Let's just get our reference over here, because the hair is puffy. The hair is very puffy, and we need to keep that going the whole way through. And just quickly sorting out one tiny thing on the side here. Okay, so now we should be okay. And it would help if I have my right brush. Okay. So my brush moved. I don't know why. Let me just put it back in where it's supposed to live. There we go. Alright, so the next thing. And make sure that we're on the correct layer. There we go. And symmetry, our not best friend. Between symmetry and consistency, consistency is more important than symmetry though. So let's work on that. Okay, and then here. All right, then yeah, it's gonna come across like so. And on this side, we've got that poofy hair. So we need to make sure that that is accounted for. There we go. Okay. Moving along swiftly. Nope. Had my eraser selected. Whoopsie. Alright, and then that's gonna be like that. And like so. And it would help if I also take my mask away, because that is going to get in the way later. It's good for previewing things, but not so much while you're actually working on things. Okay. And then from here, we proceed to ignore what happened previously. And the chaos jumps off of the lap. That got warm. That got really warm. He'll probably be back later. Oh dear. Oh, there he goes. Back upstairs. Okay. Later me's problem. Okay, and now at this point, we are already at the arm on the upswing. And I'm wondering now, I think I'm gonna add a little bit more motion blur to this. Something like that. Alright, and let's just clean that up, because that's gonna annoy me. There we go. Alright, getting places, slowly but certainly. So combing through. This is also going to have blur up. I'm also going to give that a smear. Here the smear is less because of just the angle at which everything is moving, but this next frame it needs to smear more because the hand is coming up really quickly. So in terms of actual playback speed, we're going to definitely want smear on that frame. So let's see how good my pausing game is. Not fantastic. There we go. So let's keep at it with this one. So we've got the beginnings of the glove. Which I'm not going to bother too much with detail after that point. There's the glove. Smear on the arm. And then the sleeve cuff. It looks drippy right now, but that's fine. And that should do it for shoulder. There we go. Okay, and that should now come through and resolve there. Because that's where the fast ends. Let's see. I'm happy with that. That is, if I even... Do I even necessarily need this frame? Do I even necessarily need that particular frame? Because we're going from the arm being directly up to middle to down to almost all the way up again to up. So I think that frame might actually just be one too many. That frame might just be one too many. Okay, that's frame 15. Let me hide the arc track again. Okay, so frame 15. Let's let me just put you in that color so that I can see you. All right. And just take all of you and move you up one. Okay. And hide you and hide you. All right, let's see. That's actually snappier. I prefer that. I prefer that. That's a lot snappier. And I'm going to grab these, and I'm also going to pull them across one because I don't want that on a 2. I want that on a 1s as well. Let's see. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. That looks better. Okay. So frame number 15 goes away. Frame number 15 goes away. And I will rename everything else accordingly. Ahem. How many of these did I have pre-made wipes? Okay. Okay. Okay, now we need to move the roughs to catch up. So that lines up, that lines up. That one. Does not. Now it lines up. And now you guys bump up one. And now you line up. Okay. So that's something. Okay, now here we're gonna go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Him. Add like so. And sweep down like that. There we go. Alrighty then. Now here. We still need to close this up. And this is being stubborn. This is being stubborn. Stop being stubborn. Thank you. I have no idea what sounds just came out of my mouth, but that's fine. What is streaming if not making sound effects for random stuff for no reason, right? Besides, I've got to make this somehow entertaining, even that if that means just being randomly loud for no reason. Okay. Okie-day, okie-day, okie-day. Do-do-do-do. Eek! Don't jump. No, 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 no. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. Okay, now this side. We pull this in. Like so. Alright. Now at this point, we're going to start seeing some physics on the jacket. So, because like the ponytail, which I'm not sure if you can see all the way, because that sketch layer is pretty light at the moment, you can see that the drag on the ponytail is starting to come through to settle. So the same thing needs to happen with the jacket. Is at this point it needs to overshoot. It needs to start coming back and overshooting. So it needs to go that way and then back. Don't know if you can see my cursor. And where have I got that collar missing? There. Okay, so it is like so, like so. Collar was missing details, and that was looking wrong. Wait a second. These are the wrong way around. Lovely. Don't you just love it when you see that sort of a mistake pop out of nowhere? Don't know where my brain was when I was doing that one. Okay, then here. And tension on the shirt is pulling up even more. Although maybe not quite so much. There we go. Actually, I'm not happy with those tension points at all. Wow. Because there should be a bit of pull from there. But not much. These are at completely the wrong angle. Okay, that should do it. Now you guys come across one. There we go. And I just want to make sure I'm not completely insane yet. Okay, so 17 still has some movement in it, so only at 18 does torso stay static. Okay. And this is important because it's going to affect a bunch of frames in the immediate future. So but the torso might stay static, but the jacket is going to move. So the thing that is going to stay static amongst the next range of frames is going to be only the face. Only the face is going to stay static, so that's actually where I need to be putting my focus, because face and the Affogato hand are going to be static. The rest moves. Okay. Which means you are going to need to be inked. But the hair is going to move. The hair is going to move quite a lot. Okay. Okay, my brain is currently doing a static thing where it's making weird noises inside my head. Just a second, sorry, just getting rid of a dizzy spell. Okay, save button is probably a good idea right about now. Save button is a good idea. Yeah, I know my voice is currently sounding pretty stable, but yes, I have actually been ill. Just a little water quickly. So I've been trying to manage it, but the dizzy spells hit and the brain fog hits a little bit the last couple of days. It's been making life a little bit difficult, but we deal. Based off of how my parents have actually lost some sensory sensibilities over the last day, we are not sure anymore what actually the bug is that we have collectively caught. Because we don't know if it's a bird flu or a swine flu or a COVID or a whatever. It could be anything. We're certainly not going to go and spend money on getting it tested when it's not going to change anything. The main thing is just getting our immune systems to the point where we can actually function again. Parents are fortunately already on the improvement side of the curve. But yeah, it's been making things really, really weird the last week, 2 weeks. So yes, if it sounds like I am in the middle of a sentence and then stop myself, it's probably because I've forgotten what I've just said. My memory is doing stupid things right this very second. The onion skin off. Let's just see what we've got. Go playback settings. Prefer quality over speed. Do some progress. So yeah, I should probably talk about the elephant in the room, about what has been keeping me the whole of May. So, if you've been following my Twitter account, you will be aware that I have been building a dragon. And last night we were finally able to do the special effects test on said dragon. It has been both an incredible project and an absolute nightmare. My hands are a mess. I actually painted my nails for the first time today just so that I feel like my hands do not look like something that belongs in a carpentry shop. Because I have got scars everywhere right now. And my fingers are at the beginnings of callousing phase in a way that is very, very alien to me. But yes, we have a dragon. At last, we have a dragon. And I'm just going to pause on the actual arting right now because I've got not two brain cells to rub against each other at this point for a second. So, yes, we have a dragon now. This dragon is a theatre prop. It is part of a stage play. And it is due to be on stage in a week. It's due to be on stage in a week, so that is why I had to really, really, really hurry to get the thing done, as because they still need to rehearse with the thing. And it's been quite the journey. Built it in Blender, textured, painted it in Blender, exported the paper cutout plats, all of the planes from that, and then arranged those for printing in Affinity Publisher. Sent those off to get printed on Corex board, which is that corrugated plastic material stuff that they use for sale signs on houses and things. An interesting story behind that one is that we ordered that right in the middle of campaigning for national elections happening, so everyone was buying Corex board, and it meant that we got like the last 7 of these huge sheets of Corex in the entire country, just about, for this project. So we were very, very lucky. I still don't know who our national president is this year, but we've got a dragon. It's insane. Because elections happened now last week. Yes, it was last week that we were voting. So in the midst of all of that madness, that happened. And it has been mad. Sky Hunters, thank you so much for the cookies, Galaxy. I appreciate it so much. Oh man, it's just been wild. I think I lost count at 40 paper cuts on my right hand. I don't know how many times I've been crippled from just tugging on zip ties. I think we used more than 200 zip ties on this dragon, not counting the ones that I ended up having to cut for various reasons. There were some anomalies that happened, some disassembly and reassembly nightmares that happened. So all I'm saying is that if this thing does not make the school kids who are acting in the play cry, then I haven't done my job right. Because it certainly made me cry. Just for different reasons. But I'm really, really happy with how the whole thing came together in the end. I have been asked if I would do it any differently if I had to do it again. And I can say that I've definitely learned some things in the process. I've definitely learned some things from the project, but I can't say there is much that I would do very differently. Like, if there are 2 things that I would change, it's that I would have printed the background off of which I would have printed the base color of the Corex as a dark grey rather than a white. I hope the kids bring this dragon head up in therapy later in life. If it does that, then firstly, I'm sorry, therapists, if you wonder why everyone is talking about. There was a dragon head at school that was big enough for me to fit inside, because it is big enough for a school child to fit inside the thing's mouth. But if you think that the outside is scary, you should see the picture from the back. Oh my word, I still need to actually take a photo from down the throat from backstage side, because there's this huge opening where you can see all of the internals where the smoke machine and light operator stands, and it honestly looks like my brother described it as some sort of abomination between Tim Burton and Dr. Seuss. Look, the inside of that head looking out the mouth from the back looks absolutely disturbing. Like, if the front looks cool, the back is nightmare fuel. So, I feel more sorry for the smoke machine operator than the actors, actually, now that I think about it. But yeah, it's been an experience. The other thing that I would do differently is that instead of having to cut it manually, because we had me and one of the school kids, we spent like 2 days just cutting out all of the pieces from these huge sheets of Corex. I think they were A0 sheets. Of Corex. So like huge. And they were difficult to cut. We had these craft knife type box cutter type things that you get out the hardware store with the replaceable blades, and it's like, whoo-wee, cutting that thing legitimately crippled my hand for 2 weeks. It was insane. I'm starting to be able to use my right thumb to close my hand again properly now. I've still got a little bit of a niggle in there, but I can actually close my hand properly now for the first time. So the recovery has been slow. But yeah, what I would do is I would, instead of doing that, I would have included, when I was in Affinity, a vector path for the printers to actually be able to laser cut out the different pieces so that we wouldn't have to do it manually. Those would be the only two things in this build that I would change, because any other materials, any other process, all you do is you're moving the work. So yes, it was a lot of cable tying in the assemblies, but we didn't have to paint it, we didn't have to seal it, we didn't have to glue anything. Okay, aside from a couple of the PVC joints on the skeleton that I needed PVC sealed glue, because we didn't have bolts for those, or didn't want bolts for those. But it was, as a process, pretty decent. The materials are pretty safe for stage production use. It's a less flammable option. Also, this thing is going to live on top of a very tall ladder, so if we were using anything heavier, it would have been a nightmare on another level to even mount it on the ladder in the first place. So, that entire thing weighs about 25 kilograms, I think. 25, 30 kilograms. The entire dragon head. I think that's pretty decent, actually. Like, this is a thing as big as me. It is 2 meters from the nose to the tip of the horns, 1 meter across and 1 meter tall. It is huge. And it only weighs 25, 30 kilograms. I'm not actually sure. We haven't put it on a scale to measure. But I can pick it up mostly. So I count that as a win. Most of the awkwardness in the whole carrying of the thing has got to do more with the awkwardness rather than the actual weight. I actually think, no, is it 25 or is it just 20? No, it's being held down by a 20-liter water bottle, so it's only 20 kilograms. So yeah, it's not even that heavy. It's not even that heavy. So mounting it on the ladder is going to be less of an issue. So yeah, safety-wise, it's better that it's a lighter weight material. And that has been my life as this dragon for this last month. And it has sucked all of my capacity out of everything. But we are here now. We can finish this animation. It will take all 3 of the 3 days that I've got left. for me to do it. Hopefully my brain fog will have cleared by the end of this annual chaos trip that I'm going on till tomorrow. Hello. How's it going? It is going. I'm currently fighting through a dizzy spell and some brain fogs by talking about the dragon that has been the all-consuming monster in my life for all of May. But we've made some progress. We've inked 1.5. We've inked 1.5 frames so far. So yes, we're getting there. That looks really wonky. Oh my word, that looks wrong. Hold up. Let me fix that before I lose my entire sensibility again. Because that looks wrong. That looks wrong. So yeah, I'm currently fighting brain fog, but we're surviving. We're working through it. Eek. So yeah, tomorrow at 4 o'clock I wake up. 4 o'clock in the morning, in other words, the middle of the flaming night. I wake up to catch the first flight to the other side of the country, to land at 9 in the morning, and then wait until 2 in the afternoon when I can check into a hotel. And then the next morning at about 8 o'clock I go in, give a lecture that's going to last until like 4 in the afternoon, and then go back to hotel. Then the next day, exactly the same lecture, just with a different group of students, and then go to the airport, fly home, get back home at probably what I'm anticipating to be about 11:30 at night, so half an hour till midnight. On Tuesday evening I should arrive home, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we are working on this animation. If I am not dead in bed. One of the two. So it's going to be, this week coming is going to be an absolute bumper week. I will see if I can get music sorted for by the time I am back. Drifter is down sick. My parents are still in recovery. I am trying to keep the sick away at the moment. It's just I feel it, and I feel infectious, and I feel like I just want to sleep, but I cannot afford it right now. Because I already asked for an extension on this animation. It was originally due on the 30th. I was never going to be able to get this thing done by the 30th of May. And I really don't want to have to ask for another extension, but if I am still fighting brain fog and this blasted sickness, whatever it is, come Wednesday morning I might have to, which drives me insane. I hope everything goes well for you. Thank you, Vera. I appreciate. So yeah, I'll see if Drifter is up for being able to assist while I'm away with the additional music pieces. I'm also going to be combing the handful of streams that I've got for any clippable moments. I'll probably do that tomorrow when I am twiddling my thumbs waiting to be able to check into the hotel. So that if there is anything clippable, we can clip it. Because I need to start doing some video edits and stuff like that. I feel like brain fog and sickness is something that makes asking more understanding, but I hope you're able to get through this. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate. I know Nal is aware that I'm streaming at the moment. He has been following the progress of things very closely. If you are here and lurking, I apologize for this so much. I'm trying to get through this as quickly as I humanly can. The funny story with this entire dragon scenario is that I got volunteered for it. Basically, Kiba Media got volunteered for it. Because of one of Drifter's contacts, right? So Drifter is a contact who has a lot of media experience, and he got in contact. He was assisting with audio for the school, and the drama teacher mentioned, no, we have this play that's going to be for this contest, and the idea is to have this dragon for this big scene, blah. And Drifter has known me since always, so when he heard that, it's like, no, but Ria's been drawing dragons forever. She can help you with a dragon. And hence I ended up working on a dragon. At first it was going to just be some panels that they could cut out in chicken wire, and off of that do their paper mache like normal. And then the scope creep happened, and it turned out, oh, but if we do the UV mapping some on the print, then you don't need to paint anything. It gets cheaper and all of that nonsense. And before we knew it, here I am, and sponsoring the entire thing, basically. The school was able to raise a little bit of the money for it, but not all of it. So yes, it was a giant sponsored project. And it's frustrating because on one hand, I lost all income in May. Like, no income in May. On the other hand, I got to do something really cool with dragons, because I've been desperately fond of dragons for a very, very long time, and it was fun. On a creative level, it was fun. On the other hand, it was obvious as the thing progressed that it was a huge amount of work that was never going to be commercially viable. Dragons are cool. Dragons are absolutely cool. But yeah, so it was obvious that it was never going to be a commercially viable thing, so it's not exactly something that Kiva Media wants to market as a service, is this sort of prop building. Because if one prop takes a month and no one's going to be able to afford it, that does not help anyone. Theatre is not that big in my country, especially not theatre that requires that sort of props. So it's been a fun project, but not likely to ever be repeated. And it's just, the timing has just been really, really troublesome and nightmare. But yeah. Hopefully afterwards they let you keep the head and mount it on your wall like a hunting trophy. You jest. You jest. The 3D model is going in my room. The 3D model is going in my room. You have no idea. It's going to be... It's literally going to be in my room. I'm going to give you guys the spoiler. I'm building a 3D environment for myself. As well as my model is going to have a 3D environment. I do not just mount that track. Do you have any idea how much dust we get in my part of the world? I will not be able to keep that dragon clean. Like, as it sits in my lounge, I have a small layer of dust on it, and it has only been standing upright for a day and a half in full assembly. There is already a thin layer of dust on it. I am not going to try and keep that dragon clean. I saw what you posted on Twitter, and it's just the coolest thing I've seen in a while. I am so glad. I am so glad. If it gives the audience that response as well, then awesome. I really hope that the school wins the prize, because it's for this play that it's for is for a competition. So if the school wins a prize for that prop, then I'm going to be doubly happy. Because yes, I did most of the work, but I did have the kids involved as well in the building. So yes, I was kind of the prop master, but it was technically the school's project. So if they win a prize for it, then that's going in my personal little check mark, lock it in the heart. That was a victory on my part, and I will feel happy about it. I'm never going to brag about it, that hey, I won a school contest when I have been out of school for more than a decade. But anyway, but yeah, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's, if they win a prize, I will be happy, because if nothing else, the special effects are cool, and the shell just enables the special effects. But if I get involved in that drama department ever again, I'm insisting on doing an animation on a back wall projection, because it's an awful lot easier and an awful lot cheaper, and you can do more with it than trying to have the physical prop. That said, though, the smell of smoke machine fluid is nostalgic for me. It was so nice being able to smell the smoke machine fluid again last night, because that is a smell that I grew up on. I grew up on the smell of smoke machine fluid. Really, it's weird. Because backstage was the only side of stage that I knew it growing up, so it was like, it was really fun to now just, you know, have that old familiar smell and the diffused light and all of that. It was just it was nice to be back in that space for a second. It was good. It was good. But yeah, now we move on to bigger, different angles in life. So goals are get this animation done. It needs to be done by the end of next week, come hell or high water. Or every weirdling from the maddening mists. So that needs to happen. And then I need to get more portrait commissions on those experimental paintings. It's 2 hours a piece. I can crack a couple of those out in a week, and I need to also work on actually doing my prep work for phase 2 of my channel, which is going to be actually having the 3D model, actually having my environment, doing the actual debut thing. Because at the moment we're in our soft phase, we're in our starter PNG phase, we're in our trial run. So model wise, I've got the body base mesh done. I've got textures on the face more or less done. I've still got to do the textures on the eyes, and I've still got to do the interior mouth modeling. I've still got to do blend shapes. I've still got to do UV painting on the hair. I've still got to do UV painting on the wings. I've still got to do some modeling on the wings, because there are a lot of those mechanical parts that still need to be done. I still need to model the corset. I still need to model the jacket. I still need to model the patrol uniform. Once I've got all of that, I need to do facial blend shapes, and I need to rig the thing so that when I pull it into Unity, and eventually I'm going to still test between Warido and Motion exactly which of the two I'm going to use, but one of the two, without a doubt, as an environment platform. And yes, it's a lot to do. It's going to take a while. And I need to do commissions in between all of that. So I'm going to be very, very busy. And when it comes to all of that prep work, I'm still in two minds about, okay, should I be streaming it or not? Because it's not my standard fare, because I don't see myself being a 3D modeling streamer. You know? Offering 3D model commissions, it does not seem like my range of expertise. So while I may be doing everything myself from scratch, I still need to find the balance between, okay, should I be streaming this, or should I be keeping this spoiler free? And one part of me says that if I'm doing it, I need to be showing it because it's a marketable asset potentially. And the other part of me says, no, but VTubing, you have to have some secrets so that when you show stuff, it's cool and fun. So yes, I'm going to be extremely busy. I'm still making up my mind whether I'm going to spoiler or not spoiler everything. But yes, I've been thinking hard about it and I've not been able to come to a fixed conclusion. And I've also been ping-ponging in my head about my options for, okay, should I be hiring help with all of this? Because, like I've just said, it's not my area of expertise. I don't entirely know what I'm doing. I've never worked in Unity before. And I need to pull stuff into Unity in order for it to work through both Motion and Warudo. So, that is a tools kit that I have never used before, and I feel a little intimidated by it at the moment because I know that there's a lot that I don't know. And it's I'd say it's up to you. If you want to show the process and display these the skills you have to offer, then stream it. If not, then there's no pressure to. Yeah. Like, here's the weird thing, right? When it comes to art, I like working with characters. Like, when it comes to illustration stuff, I really like working with characters. When it comes to 3D modeling, I've determined that the organic stuff isn't quite as fun to me. It's like, for some reason, trying to do the organic modeling is not as fun to me as it is in 2D. It's very, very strange. Maybe it's just because I'm frustrated with it, because this is like the 18th time that I've tried to make a 3D character model and it's still not at a riggable point. So it's very weird for me right at the moment. So yeah, I don't know if I want to actually hire in assistants, but then I'm looking at budget, which I don't have, for luxuries that I can't afford. And it's a lot of very serious considerations. So yes, the skill set is incredibly, incredibly useful, but I'm currently under a lot of stress, and I can't say that I'm thinking straight all the time. So I need balance and I need sanity, and I need a schedule. So at some point I'm going to need to get back into doing things. At some point I'm going to need to get back into doing things on a schedule again, because I am not good at being random and spontaneous. I'm reaching a point in one of my projects where I'm now having to play with coding for VR chat and tearing my hair out in the process. Yeah. It's working outside of one's range of expertise is generally, it's a good learning curve, but at the same time, it can be incredibly frustrating. Like, I'd feel an awful lot better about all of this if I had a mentor. Like, if a mentor would be amazing. A mentor would be absolutely amazing. For these sorts of things, because it's tricksy. Like, I've seen, what's his name? Pierre, I think. What's his name? If I can find him quickly. Hold on. There is this guy who has the most amazing Blender resources, and he's got a course for rigging, which I've had my eye on for for basically as long as this thing has been out. Which is probably one of the resources that I actually need to actively invest in. Because it's honestly a skill set that I could do so much with if I could just feel confident with it. Where are you? Should be close to the bottom of this list now. Come on. Man, I'm not finding the guy. Because I've already got resources for learning animation that I'm not stressed about. Animation, I'm actually cool with. I just want rigs that I know the rig. And I know how to rig, because then I can do my own stuff without being worried about monetizing my channels or breaching copyright or any of that nonsense. If I'm doing it with stuff that I've made myself. So if I know how to rig, I feel an awful lot more comfortable modeling, rigging, and animating my own stuff. I'll feel an awful lot more comfortable with that. I think... What's your name? You gotta be here somewhere. Bruh, where are you? Man. Is it here? it's not there. Yeah. Okay, so I can't find it right now, but anyway. So there is a lot that I need to learn, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed because I need all of these skills a month ago. Or actually, I needed all of these skills 2 years ago, but I just... in my previous life, somehow managed to learn an awful lot and not enough at the same time. So, I feel like I've forgotten more than I've ever known, and it's frustrating. But anyway, let's see. Save button. Hydrate. Okay. Now, all of that aside, brain, please catch up and actually fire your synapses, please. I beg of you. I hate it when I have a thought that's important to share, and then I know that it's important to share, and as I open my mouth to share it, it disappears into the ether. It happens way too much for my liking. So yeah. Production for things on my end are going to take a small eternity, so we're going to be on PNG for a while. Unless weird things happen and I somehow spontaneously get help. Which I'm not going to bet on. There's so much here that I'm not liking, but I don't trust myself to fix it at this very, very second. Okay. What do I trust myself to do right now? Don't trust myself with any of these frames just yet. Yeah. Oh man, I wanted to still do a marathon stream today. My brain is nowhere. All I want to do is sleep. Which is probably good for my body. But it's not good for my psyche. To stop knowing that I've got stuff to do. I also want to sleep. Yeah, sleep is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Because on one hand, I desperately want to work on this and get places with it and not be that commission person who fails to deliver. But on the other hand, I don't want to do a sub-quality product because I'm sitting with brain fog. So, what did we actually manage to get done today? We managed to ink 1, 2, and a line of 3 frames, and 1 frame that we threw away, actually. We inked a frame that we threw away because it was not actually a necessary frame. So, blast. I'm in 2 minds. Anyway. So, yeah, I've got a lot of ideas for what I want to do with life going forward. But I need to get this deadline behind me successfully at a quality that I am not going to cringe at for the rest of my life. And I need to actually earn a living this month still. It's going to be the 15th by the time I blink twice, so that's going to mean I've got 2 weeks to somehow summon people from the ether and hopefully some of them become clients. And somehow in the midst of all of this I actually need to do some mental health checks as well, because yipes. As I sit here, one of my only IRL friends is having a birthday celebration that I'm too infectious to go to. And I don't think I've actually socialized with anyone in 2 months. So, yeah, that also needs to somehow happen. Yeah. I need to get a life in between everything else. So, oof, okay. Then, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can plan a collab sometime after deadlines are sorted out on something. Hey, Sam, hello, hello. How are you holding up? I am very much not. So yeah, I'm gonna see if I can plan a collab with someone somewhere after the 15th as well. Hopefully my body holds up for it. Because I also can't afford to go into 2 weeks of bed rest, like my mom has needed to. So yeah, lots that needs to be thoroughly considered, worked on, and all of that. Don't overdo it. I hope you can rest. Thank you. I appreciate. This is probably visually the most boring stream any of you have ever been to, because you're just looking at a PNG and nothing happening on an animation screen on a half-inked frame. It must be incredibly boring. But I appreciate you guys all the same. So I'm going to... What kind of collab? Still working on that. Like, Sam and I are actually in discussion at the moment in terms of something that we can do, but we haven't made up our minds yet, because we need to consider both the fact that we are on continents which are like 6 hours out of sync time zone wise. Like actually most of the people who I want to interact with are 6 hours this way or that out of sync. In terms of potential collab partners, so this has fine. Been interesting listening to the conversation. I'm glad you found it interesting, Braid. It's been a little bit of pouring my heart out a little bit. But yeah, time zones do suck. Time zones do suck, but we will make it work. So yeah. So Sam and I are looking at doing a collab. I'm looking at doing a collab with Abbott Internal as well. At some point, it's like midnight rolls over, and that's when he has his standard stream time. So it's like, very difficult for me in my non-soundproof room to arrange that. I am tentatively starting to put together a life schedule for myself. I've picked up Habitica again. I used it once many moons ago, and I've picked it up again in the hopes that I'll actually be able to have a life schedule. I'm down to collab as well if you're ever interested. Thank you, Isaac. We will discuss and see if everything works out. Because yeah, I'd like to do some creative stuff. I'd like to do some game stuff. When it comes to game stuff, I can only do the free to play, and I'm also not going to be anywhere near the horror genre. So I know a lot of the collab stuff is sort of in that territory, and it's like the concept of it exhausts me a little bit in terms of the collabable games. But maybe I should also be looking at not hosting necessarily, but being a guest on something if I can find someone who will have me. In more of a group setting as well, just to take the pressure off. Because weirdly, I have been in exactly 2 collabs in the entire 5 years I have been doing streaming. Exactly 2 collabs in 5 years. I think it's 5 years, or is it closer to 7 now? I think it's actually closer to 7 now. I've been streaming on and off. I was streaming on and off for 5 years before I actually opened my Twitch account. It's actually insane. I don't really play horror either, don't care much for the supernatural. Yeah. And also the psychological. Like, guys, there's enough nightmare fuel between my own ears. I don't need it other people to give me nightmare fuel and jump scares. I don't need that in my upsetting my soul. I'm more of a fan of the more creative co-op style games. Yeah, like I've been modeling an electrical distribution panel this morning. Ooh, fun. That's technical. Yeah, designing stuff is a lot of fun. Building stuff is a lot of fun. Like I'm almost wanting to say that something in the survival category ought to be an interesting concept. I'd still like to do some creative streams with other artists as well. Horror games are just stressful. Yeah, and guys, you've been hearing me speak for the last half an hour. I do not need more stress in my life right now, like what you get out of a horror game. So yeah. It's I don't mind psychological stuff. I find psychology and seeing people's minds work, how people's mind work, fascinating. Probably because I'm neurodivergent, having the Tourette syndrome. Yeah. Look, psychology and those sorts of studies are incredibly interesting. and finding resources and games that would be educational in a way, or give enlightenment on how things work and how people process things differently. In theory, it's great, but like, maybe I've just had one psychological thriller too many in the last year or two. No, just the other day was any time in the last 20 years. No, I've watched a couple too many psychological thriller movies for me to be comfy with that sort of game at the moment. Maybe when I'm more stable, I will consider it again. But right now, I will keep that genre strictly to my webcomics, where I can put them down for several weeks when I know that I cannot handle it at that point in time. It's why the games that I have in mind for collabs are a bit more casual friendly. Yeah. Like, casual stuff that you can pick it up once, put it down, and not be broken is great for collabs, honestly. I think that as a media for communicating things, gaming is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Yeah, good plan. Horror can be fun, interesting, and thought-provoking, but there's a time and place. Yes. And there's also the consideration, is it horror for horror's sake, or is it actually trying to tell you something, challenge you about something, you know? Like, it all depends on what's the actual context. Are you just in it for the creepy aesthetic, or are you trying to challenge a deeper part of someone's psyche? So I think, like, I am personally an action genre person. Like, most of my webcomics that I read are action genre. Like, most of the ones that I've actually stuck to anyway are action genre. And with a splattering of mystery and with a splattering of other stuff mixed in. Blah, it all depends on the setting, but my personal take is that horror is supposed to be used just like romance as part of a narrative. It should not necessarily be the entire focus unless your narrative that you're trying to convey is one that is supposed to be in your face, challenging something about how the world works. I found that sandbox games make for a great collab engine, as do arcade-style games and co-op roguelites. Yeah, it's those sorts of games definitely do work. Like if I had to say the only one that I can think of right off the top of my head where it's definitely a horror setting that I've actively been reading, although I have had put it down for a couple of months now to let the new season build up buffer episodes, is Parallel City. That is full science fiction horror in both the psychological and the monsters sense. And it is a brilliant story. Like, it is a brilliant, brilliant story, Parallel City. And that has a lot of challenges because it's dealing with, okay, how would you, in a different set of circumstances, behave? Would you still be you as you recognize yourself? And how would you behave thrown into different circumstances where the other you have lived, to kind of give you a sense of the kind of conflict that arises in that story. It's a very good, very good, very good story. The World After the Fall is another very challenging setting. Also visually disturbing, like visually very disturbing. But it's also a setting that is very much designed to make you think about things. So it's not got the same flavor of horror as something like, for example, Sweet Home, which I looked at and I just said, you know what? Not for me right now. I generally do not watch horror stories or play many horror games. Yeah, it's not an easy genre. Um, it when used tastefully can be amazing. Like, Purple Hyacinth, for example, is a mystery story, right? Um, and for the most part, it is mystery. It's action. It's got echoes of a romance story. Friendly reminder to drink water. Thank you, Vera. I appreciate it. One look equals nope. Yeah. So that you understand what I'm saying. It's like you look it up and it's like, you know what? No, not for right now, or not for my particular sense of self at this point in my life. But like talking about Purple Hyacinth as a complete opposite, it is an action story. It's a mystery story, smidge of romance, good, solid plot, but the very, very subtle smatterings where things get really, really heavy. The art style screams horror in the most amazing way possible without it actually ever growing into that genre. And I appreciate that so much. Dead Sophism and Ephemeris did an amazing job with that, and I cannot wait until that story returns, because it's going to be amazing when it does. Closest thing I've come to a horror game would be Left 4 Dead 2, and that's more of an action shooter than a horror. Yeah, like, a lot of the action genre stuff likes to lean into that aesthetically. Aesthetically, they like to lean into that because then it's easy to have the monsters that you face off against and all of that. My brother and I had recently had a run-in like that with a game. The premise and mechanics were super interesting, but the resulting emerging horror ended up being a bit too much. Yeah, like, if it's done tastefully and subtly and not overboard, it can be great. Like, good creature design, fantastic. But if everything looks like it crawled out of the underworld, it gets a bit much as well. Like, it gets a bit much. Not every monster has to look like that, you know? That said, as someone who enjoys creature design very much myself, funny Left 4 Dead 2 was mentioned. I recently opted to play a sci-fi alternative called the Anacrusis. Interesting. Yeah, I think as soon as you're in the sci-fi fantasy action genre, the lines between the genres blur quite significantly. And it depends entirely on setting, messaging, where the story is going, who the big bad is, and how comfortable the art team is with disturbing people, and how much value that disturbing material actually brings to the media. Like, there's a lot of stuff that the disturbing stuff actually does not bring anything to the table. Like, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. So yeah. If you haven't been able to tell, webcomics are kind of my thing. Webcomics are my thing. They are my story sense. They're more so than games, like, by a long ways. Has an 80s sci-fi aesthetic, complete with funky tunes. Oh, nice, 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 nice. If you can DM me that name, I will definitely look it up later and see what its vibe is. Because it's funny we're talking about games at the moment, because let me just hydrate like Veer told me to like 10 minutes ago. Okay. Because I've actually been having this thought now on and off for the last 10 or so months about my relationship with video games. Because I've never completed a video game in my life. Fact. And my relationship with watching people playing video games is not great. I can watch someone play a video game for about a half an hour and then I find myself dialing out. Which, in the EN VTubing sphere, is irk. It's like the primary foundation of the EN VTubing sphere is in the gaming streaming. So, it's very, very much something that one feels like, okay, if you're a VTuber in the EN sphere, you should be doing gaming at least once a week, you know? Because that's how your audience, that's like what your audience expects from you, is to be doing gaming. And, you know, on one hand, I would like to be able to play these games, and I don't think I would enjoy or be any good at them if I have seen someone else play the game. And on the other, I am very much familiar with the sense that a lot of games that are out there, I will never have the hardware to be able to actually play. So, is it worthwhile isolating myself from that, just so that on the off chance that I get said hardware by some weird twist of fate, I can maybe potentially play it on stream? I don't know. It's not worth it for me. So, like, there's entire intellectual properties that I've never even interacted with. Were highly praised intellectual properties that I've never interacted with on a hardware level. And I often wonder if it is wise for me to be isolating myself from streamers who are doing that content as something that I should actually be paying attention to, as a learn how to stream this sort of thing, or if it's something that I should be isolating myself from so that I'm not going in with spoilers when I eventually one day play those games, or if it's something that I shouldn't think about too hard and actually should be watching when I've got time to take a break. Which, frankly, I almost think never happens. Seeing brief snippets of gameplay for Horizon was what got me interested in the game. I have more games on Steam than I've actually beaten. Yeah, it's normal to have a bigger library than what you've actually played through. Like, I've got a couple of things in my Steam library that I've been wanting to play for ages, but I'm just never getting to it. Because there's always a more important thing to handle, you know? So yeah, from the side of my own personal content, I am not 100% sure about, should I even be pursuing this? As in, like, eh? How dare Steam have sales? Depends on how you feel about spoilers, yeah. Like, for me, I don't think that I'd be able to give good responses to how the game story plays out if I've got the spoilers. Like, from a streamer's perspective, as a from the streamer's perspective as an entertainer, I can't imagine having the spoilers being any good for my ability to convey the story. That being said, we've got literally hundreds and thousands of streamers out there, and all of them are playing exactly the same games the whole time. The viewers already know the story, probably. Like, you guys all know all of the stories all the time anyway, because you've all played it, you've all watched it from other streamers as well. So it's not like you're watching the stream because you're never going to have a console, you're never going to have the game. I had spoilers for Horizon, but what I had was pieces of info without connecting info or context. Honestly, if you have precious little free time and you want to watch streamers, I'd bounce around and see if there's a streamer out there as a baby. Like, as I ran through the game, I got the missing pieces together. Yeah. Like, what I've found is that I'm more interested in the streamer than the game most of the time, and I find that the game distracts from the streamer, frankly. That's my viewing experience with the people who I've been watching. And I like to have a streamer on while I am working, when I'm doing my offline work. And I find that if they're playing a video game, there is an unspoken need to be watching what's happening on their screen to understand anything that they're talking about, which makes doing visual work difficult. So in my case, I personally found myself more drawn to the musical or the chatting type of streams. I wanted to play a game that is Souls-like, but you're a crab. Unfortunately, I don't know the whole story now, so if you should play it. I heard recently about a new game that was all about a crab. It sounds actually kind of casually fun. Actually. Like, just slightly absurd, but fun. In my case, I think streaming has helped with finishing the game. Some of the games that I've played on stream, I'm often more interested in the streamer as well. I get that mood. Sometimes I found it to be true when I'm on the playing game. So many dialogue boxes I talked over because I got distracted by talking. Yeah. Like, you want to interact with your chat as a streamer because that's kind of the job. And at the same time, another crab's treasure, I think. Yes, that's the one. I think it's about the hermit crab that gets its shell stolen. And then it goes on a quest to get its shell, I think. I think that's the one. That's the one I'm thinking of. If there's another one, then I don't know about it. Whoopsie. Seen Cinder playing that a couple of times. Okay. Yeah. So, I know for a fact that me as a switch off brain thing, I'm definitely going to be playing Wuthering Waves because it's free. And it's got enough skill in the mechanic, in the play style to require stuff happening. Do not know the plot. Yeah. The plot that I described was based entirely off of the trailer that I saw once. I see trailer, which includes hermit crab, loses shell, gets a quick, cheap trash replacement, and probably is going on the quest for a better shell. Probably. Because what else does a hermit crab want, you know? Been thinking of playing that one? Yeah. I mean, it's cute. Concept-wise, it's cute. And I'm pretty sure that it's got severe undertones of talking about ecology and litter and ocean waste and all of that nonsense. That is very, very important. Little Trash Maid vibes, you know? Yes, that's another webcomic. It's a good webcomic too. It's cute. So it's, for me, I know that I'm going to be doing a little bit of Wuthering Waves. I have, at irresponsible hours at the night since it came out, managed to play a little bit when sleep has been hard in coming by. And I have made a new account for Final Fantasy XIV so that I can actually use a free trial and not feel pressured to pay every month, because I've got the free trial up to level 70, which is not on a timer. Oughtn't be anyway. You know, I never know how these guys work anymore. Woo looks good, but man, I don't have the time. Yeah. Like, I like things that I can play and then put down for 2 months and not feel guilty about it when I pick it up again. Like, as a free-to-play player, in anything that I do, basically, if it's not a game that I've actually invested in, I'm only really going to be focusing on free-to-play stuff in the foreseeable future. It's very much a case of, if you can't put it down for 2 months and not have missed anything, it's very difficult to get into. Or if you can't put it down for 3 months and pick it up and look for what objective you were supposed to go next and remember, okay, this is where you've been, this is where you're going, then I'm not going to be able to really pick it up, honestly. Like, I remember, what was it? 2019-ish, I think, somewhere there. Yeah, 2019. I tried to play Final Fantasy VII for the first time, the original one. You know, got the PC version on Steam, and I tried to play it, and I got to a point that I think is somewhere on disc 2 of the original game. And I remember I was outside Midgar, and I had to get something done. I can't remember what. And I put the game down, and I was standing outside of Midgar. And I had to put the game down. 3 months later, I came back to the game, because that was the first time that I got the opportunity to. And I've logged in, and I was standing outside Midgar, and I couldn't find out for the life of me what I was supposed to do next. Couldn't for the life of me figure out what I was supposed to do next. So yeah, I need to restart that game from scratch. With the remake, I want to play the original before I play the remake. Because the story is really good. I've got a lot of friends who really, really, really adore the story. And if I do play it, it's going to be a blind, because I still don't know what happens past that point in the game, because I've been specifically not watching playthroughs of the original Final Fantasy VII so that I can have that experience. Also, on the thought of streaming games blind, I've gotten a bit nervous doing that because I'm not sure of the game's pacing or if I'll get stuck. I like games I know because I know what to expect. Ooh, yeah. Back my mom called me. Oof, yeah. Never could get into Final Fantasy VII, yeah. Yeah, not everything is for everyone, you know? I'm gonna help her deliver a multi-tiered cake for rating in a bit. Oh, is that only now? Oh, yes, 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 yes. That makes sense considering your time zone. Yes, that makes sense. Best of luck delivering that big cake. It's going to be an interesting challenge, but I know you can do it. I also get worried that me figuring out will be visually uninteresting as I figure out what to do for die time and time and time again, trying to figure it out. Yeah, like, I understand that as well. Like, a little bit of predictability is useful for you to know what you're doing. Like, I know I've not ever completed a game. I know I'm sucky. I know I haven't got the mechanical skill for an awful lot of things. I've also got fingers that are slightly bendy, so oftentimes when I try and hit the Q button, I end up hitting the W button. It happens, you know? Because why? I've got a pinky that bends at least 30 degrees between the root and the tip, you know? In a soft curve. Uh, just the weird quirks of biology, you know? And all of those things make it stressful to try and do a high skill thing if you are not up to it. And it's difficult if you don't know what to expect or you don't know where the story is going. Is this something that I'm actually comfortable working with? Is this something that I'm actually capable of doing? Took me a while to get used to keyboard from playing only console games. Yeah, like for me, I grew up on a keyboard. I have very little experience using a controller, so it's exactly the opposite. Pinky, yeah, like the finger on your hand opposite your thumb. The last finger on the opposite side, yeah. Earlier I was going to say that gaming is foundational to my being a VTuber. One of my motivations was to regain the social aspect of gaming that I had lost with my IRL social local friends I grew up with. Oh wow, that's a take that I haven't heard before. That is a take that I've never heard before. Interesting. That's actually really really interesting because it's difficult socializing. As we go deeper and deeper into the era of technology, socializing is really really hard. I use the finger next to that to hit the Q key. Yeah. Okay, so you use your ring finger. Okay, interesting. Like maybe I'm just should not be the one to talk about socializing because my social life has been a mess for as long as I can remember. But socializing with people of one's own age group is important, but it's also it's an interesting thing to think of. Okay, you had a community of a common interest as a child and now trying to reconnect that and having VTubing as being your method to get back into that. That's actually a very interesting take on it. It's actually a really good thought to bring into streaming, and I know it can be kind of bring back the vibe of old LAN parties back when a streamer's hosting a community night or the like. Yeah. Growing up, social gaming have always been a way I connect with people, starting from playing with my father at age 3. It's always been instrumental to my making friends. Huh. For me, it's the opposite. Socializing has gotten easier in the digital age than in school before cell phones were a thing. Yeah. No. I was weird because I homeschooled. In my foundational phase. So my socializing happened with adults, mostly. So my parents, colleagues, work friends, and people from the church, mostly adults, was my social circle. I think there was one friend that I had as a kid who I saw maybe twice a year, who was my same age. So it was very, very strange for me. Like, I think the reason I draw as foundationally to my existence as I do is because what else do you do with your time, you know? I know I started to try and preserve a record of some gaming history. I do mostly retro games and have old systems I grew up on to stream off of. Wow. Look, game preservation is a huge, huge thing. And I think it's incredibly important work, and pirating is unfortunately something that one needs to look into when it comes to that, because otherwise they just disappear straight off the face of the planet. But proudest moment was when I tracked down 2 copies of most of Lost Media games and was able to stream. That's awesome. That's an awesome record. I grew up surrounded by people who are older than me. I'm used to being the younger of the group. Yeah, like I'm used to. Yeah, I grew up surrounded by old people. Honestly, like mostly older people. So for me, when I was 10, I went to an actual school for the first time. Um, and well, that was legit trauma for me because I did not know how to interact with people of that age group and that level of social maturity, and how, yeah, it was just messy because everything I knew about what to expect from kids from school, I learned from TV, watching the expected norm from American TV shows. So it's like I was not expecting a good experience, and I did not have a good experience. And it was, I cannot remember anything before I'm 10 with any sort of clarity before that. So yeah, huge blow to my psyche when that happened. Um, and yeah, since then my entire social life has completely fallen off the face of the earth. So, uh, games are a huge part of modern culture and storytelling, even without counting what stories can take advantage of in this medium, but it's so easy to overlook games or lose them, yeah. For us neurodivergent, we often make social connections easiest when partaking in a shared activity. Yes, this is true. As an adult, I can socialize just fine otherwise, but small talk is tough because my brain literally sees no value in it. Yeah, yeah. School was a combat zone where I was a lone soldier surrounded by enemies. Yeah, that was the feeling. That was the feeling because you expect everyone to behave like you are dirt under their feet. And children are known to be actual psychopaths, so this is not entirely untrue, but it messes with you. It messes with you. Needless to say, I do not have good vibes with education systems in general. So we'll see if I ever write a piece of fiction that I publish. The likelihood of it being in a school setting is incredibly low. I think that's also one of the reasons why I never got into Harry Potter as well, is because the entire idea of a academy just, it never vibed. It never vibed with me. Academy settings just, they're difficult. So yeah, needless to say, socialization is ridiculously difficult. After I got out of school, I went straight into work and have spent work either with my family or working with women in an industry that I do not believe in. So for 10 years, I worked in that and had no social life from there. In the last 5 years, my family started sailing, and I met like 3, 4 people out of that. That was nice and decent. One of them has moved away, one of them is moving away. The other two got married to each other. So it's weird, that social circle. Antisocial is the wrong word. I was definitely not antisocial. I was always cautious of how I acted and said. Yeah. I was literally antisocial. Yeah. Social avoidant. Yeah. Yeah. When antisocial is such an interesting thing because it's the social avoidance and being antisocial are definitely not the same thing. Like, social aversion in the sense of wanting to not interact with people because you don't trust them, or you have observed them and you find that they are not the sort of people that you want to put any sort of emotional investment into. That's a different thing from just being offish for the sake of, I don't like the idea of mixing with other people regardless of who they are. that those are two completely different social concepts and psychological situations to be in. So yeah, like in my case, I observed people. I got hurt by people. I observed people. I saw that the ways that they were going to behave were going to also cause more harm than good, and I decided not worth my time. Um, um, so yeah. Anyway, this has turned into a very, very strange conversation. Yeah, I don't care what people think or are looking at them or what they think. I don't like other kids, and I saw little value in socializing with them, so I was alone with a slight air of danger, which prevented most bullying in the school known for being violently fights. Okay, that's slightly terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes being bigger and scarier than the big scary things has got some advantages. Like, I was the person who was terrified of breaking rules, and so I always got annoyed at people who broke rules because it was fun to break rules, and that put me in conflict with people. And yeah, needless to say, people didn't like me because I said, listen, sit down, shut up, follow the rules. It's not that difficult. um, so yeah, I was that person who just got annoyed because other people just couldn't do what they were told, and had no common sense about them. So yeah. I like the air of danger about me. I was a coward until that one time I got cornered, and then people learned the wisdom behind the beware the quiet one saying, yes, 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 yes. I was the one who would be really quiet, and then if people are running around stealing other people's pencil cases and around the desks, I'd be the one who grabs their arm and doesn't let go until they give me the pencil case that I can give it back to the person who owns the pencil case. That was me. So yeah, it was not a positive experience overall. Anyway, let's move along swiftly. Before this gets into dangerous territory. Yeah. So all that aside, the idea is that I need to look into ways and means of developing a social life again. Because the last decade of work has not made that possible. So, one of my challenges is that I can't drive because of optical reasons. So, in my physical space, I have very limited options in terms of places I can go. And even then, of the activities in my local sphere, those are also very limited and very small pool of people that I can actually interact with and deal with. So, yeah, social prospects are a bit bleh. And what social life I have is entirely online. I have no IRL people to hang out with here. Like, my closest friends live 40 kilometers away from me at the moment. And beyond that, the closest person is halfway across the country. Hey, finding someone to chat with in VC on or off stream is one of the social connection, as long as you keep your wits about you and act safely. Yeah, like yeah, this is true. It's something that I actually need to get into actually doing, because joining VCs has also not been something that I have done habitually, in any way, shape, or form. I'm rarely in VC with anyone. Yeah. Like, my family know the only time I'm speaking aloud in the house, really, is if I'm streaming. If I'm not streaming and I'm speaking aloud, it's because something weird is happening. Either I'm teaching someone with past life stuff, or you were actually in a voice call that was not a stream. What weirdness is this? You know? Does not happen. And I've not been able to bring myself to a public world in VR chat. Yeah. Like, I would like to investigate VR chat one day, but I'll do that with a friend in a secure place one day, but not in a hurry. I do occasionally speak aloud to myself. Yeah. That's something that, look, speaking aloud to oneself is something that one must do from time to time, especially if you're a streamer, because it lets you experiment with things, right? So, in terms of your tonality, how you handle your voice, maybe you're rehearsing something, maybe you are trying new things to do with your voice that you want to incorporate into your stream. That's all reasonable reasons to be speaking with yourself. Another reason I started content creation, it's an environment I can socialize in where I'm in control and can keep things safe as well as within my boundaries. Yes. It's all very reasonable reasons to be doing the thing, you know? Yeah. I've been speaking to myself in private since I was a child, yeah. No. The problem is when you're having arguments with yourself and losing. Nah, but anyway. So, yeah, that conversation was an hour's tangent of note. Oh my word. That was a tangent. That was a tangent and a half. That was gooey. Let me see. Have I got the guts for another line or three? Okay. Help if I was not on the incorrect color. This is what is called in the VTuber scene yapping, and it's a big appeal for most VTuber watchers. Yes, yapping. Yes, yapping is important. Yapping is fun. It would just be nice to be able to yap about things that aren't also, you know, things that eventually drain people's energy, you know? So, let us, in fact, change topic. What is a little victory that you have had this week past? Tell me, what's a little victory that you've had? You guys know what my little victory was. It was that dragon. It was less of a little victory, it was more of a big one, but what's the little victory that you guys have had this week? I'm curious. We need little victories right now. Change the mood. if allowed to go on long enough, my rambles almost always become somewhat philosophical. No, that is absolutely fair. Rambles have a wonderful way of doing that. Every single time. That is a mood and a half right there. I like deep conversation. I get to know people pretty well that way. Yes, it's good. I got a door animated in my starship build. It's definitely a victory, because doors I hear are an absolute nightmare when it comes to 3D builds. I started going to the gym and went every single day of the week, even if I wanted to stay sleeping. That is definitely a victory. Motivational victory right there. Well done, Veer. Well done, well done, well done. Ooh, I just had a thought. Is anyone maybe, and this is just throwing it out there because I know I need this thing for keeping my brain in check on a daily basis, but would anyone be interested in joining my Habitica party? As for small victories, I got to release 3 videos on my YouTube that weren't shorts, and I recorded 3 more yesterday. That is epic. Well done. Well done, Sam. That is huge. Well done, well done, well done. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have a hard time with this stream when it comes to grabbing clips in tomorrow and Monday. What made me want to keep going was that my idol would go if it was me. Yes. Yes. Having someone who's back here chasing has that impact. It definitely does. Joining what? I did not catch that. Habitica. Let me put it in here. Yeah. Habitica. It's basically a platform that turns your daily goals into like a video game, almost like pixel type RPG. And when you beat your goals, then you earn EXP, and when you fail your goals, then you take damage. And I like the idea that I can put my to-do list on there, and it gives me a reminder on a daily basis, and lets me build habits, things like that. Of all of the productivity tools that I've seen, that one looks like the only one that will do the trick for me. Like I said, I used it once in the past, and then my life became unpredictable, and I could not have a schedule for 10 years. But now that I can start being the master of my own schedule again, now that I'm unemployed, self-employed, with Kiva Media, and can actually start to get order in my own life again, having something like that telling me, hey, it's this time of day, you should be doing this thing, is pretty important for me. And it lets you make parties with other people, and you can take on your challenges and keep each other accountable as a party, which is pretty nice. I got another short call. What was that about Habitica? Yeah, I was wondering if anyone was interested in joining my party or anything like that, just casually, if you're not already part of one. It's just an accountability thing. Might as well throw the idea out there, right? Not like I've got other people I can ask at this point in time. Outside of my family, you guys are literally my world. So, yeah. So I would create a Habitica, and then we could party up. Would be willing to join? Yeah, I will send you guys to the place. It's both a mobile app and a web page that you can sign up with your Google or your email or whatever. I I can never keep up with those sorts of apps. Like, it's always a countdown until I forget that it exists. Yeah. Yeah, I was scared that it would be the same for me, but the only reason I stopped using it a while ago was because I was in a lifestyle that a schedule was impossible to maintain. But I know that I'm someone who works best with a schedule. So for me, it makes sense to actually have something like that to keep me accountable, because April, I was floundering like mad. I was floundering like mad because it was a case of there was nothing else holding me accountable, and it was difficult to get anything done. Let's put it that way. I'll give it a try. Yeah, and I mean, there's no pressure. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Also, I should probably mention, no, this stream is not sponsored. I could use a better schedule again. Yeah. Account created. Yay! Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I'll see how the invitations and stuff work. I think you can only join parties after like level 3, maybe. We'll see. Or is it level 2? I think it's level 2. Ah, it doesn't really matter. I'll send the details on my Discord later. For the party. And we'll see what happens. Yeah. But no, I have hit my brick wall, guys. The brain fog has not gone away regarding the actual drawing of lines. Like, that we were able to keep a conversation going with all of its topic changes along the way, I am slightly surprised about, but it was probably good for the sanity, because I have not spoken this much in a month, or interacted with people this much in a month. I feel insane. And I really appreciate you guys spending the time with me. I really appreciate it. But yeah, my focus is nowhere, and it's driving me insane. We did manage to ink a couple of things, so that's good. I've also started using Trello for some of my 3D projects. Yeah. Like, having a combination of stuff, different tools for different jobs, is always great. Glad it was good for something. Hope Fogs clears soon for you. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Honestly, the last week I have felt about 2 millimeters away from my psyche snapping, because it was honestly just hard not interacting with anyone. Like, it was just, tweeting doesn't cut it. Tweeting does not cut it. And I do feel more productive when I'm streaming. Obviously today with the brain fog is a very bad example. But being able to just spend time with you guys has been amazingly therapeutic today. Like, I have been missing you so much. I cannot explain it in adequate terms. It's just, it's been really great having you guys here. They don't call me Dr. Sam for nothing. I like helping good people whenever I can. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yes. So, hopefully, I will be intact enough on Wednesday to try this again. It will also be afternoon stream in my time. So, basically same start time as today. So, 1300 hours UTC will be the start time. If we do anything on Wednesday. I am planning on as soon as I've got this animation out of the way. One of the things that I need to do is also build my template for a stream schedule as well, so that we can get back into that. You're a cool person, and it's interesting to at least listen or talk along. Oh, thank you. I've just become more picky about who I give my time and energy to. Oh, yes. No, but being picky about that sort of thing is important. It's important. You've only got so many hours in your life. You can't waste them on people who are going to drain that energy out of you, you know? Like, when streams started, I will be very honest, I was doubtful if I was going to make a half an hour. I was so doubtful. Like, I was half falling asleep in my chair in the 15 minutes leading up to the stream. And here we are, 2.5 hours later. I'm still conscious somehow. That's because of you guys. That's because of you guys giving me energy, and I really, really, really appreciate that. And I want it on record. Someone please clip that. Because it's true. It's all you guys give me energy, and I really, really appreciate you so much. And man, I want to be able to give back to you guys without it being under stress. It was just it was good to be with you guys today. I could tell that you're a good person from the moment you reached out to me in that quote tweet. Oh, no, it was an absolute pleasure. When people are trying their best and to make safe spaces and wholesome spaces, I think that needs to be honored, honestly. Like, not all safe spaces are necessarily aimed at all people, you know? But you can have a target audience of a certain demographic without it necessarily being, you know, tailored to a certain type of content. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about in that case, Sam. So like, my target demographic is legit you guys. Men between the ages of 16 and 40-ish, who are interested in creative stuff and action stuff. That's literally my target audience. And combat fitness, that's my target audience. And like, that's so far mostly who I've managed to pull in, and you guys have proven to so far not be creepy people. So I appreciate that. I'm still figuring out who my specific target demographic is. Yeah. It's fine. It's fine. You've got time to figure it out. At the moment, you're looking for people who are interested in stuff that's not sassy and who are interested in, from what I can gather from your streams, fighting games and mecha. That's your target audience, is non-sassy people who like combat games and mecha. That's a target audience. Whether that is a too broad stroke is still to be debated, but it's a target audience. Like, I personally will say very, very safely that I do not want to target children in my content, even though I definitely want to stay a safe for work sort of streamer. I do not want to do the sassy stuff. It's not me. It's not me. Combat games and what? Mecha. Like such. Yeah. So yes, I am embracing my feminine identity and being cute and pretty, but I don't want to necessarily, you know, be a thirst trap either. uh, I figured out what you meant as soon as I asked. It's fine, it's fine. One thing I can sort of do relatively quickly most of the time is type on a keyboard. Yeah. I'm not sure who my target audience is yet. I do not really have one figured out yet. No, there is time. Find out what you like to do and find out, okay, if this is the sort of stuff that I like doing, who is interested in the stuff that I like doing? Once you've figured out who is interested in the stuff you like doing, then you can start tailoring how you speak to cater to those sorts of people. You know? Sometimes you just want to keep the really young kids out of the space just in case. Exactly, because I know, just like today, we've had a conversation that got deep and it got psychological and it got in a position where it was maybe people of a certain mental maturity level or emotional maturity level may not have necessarily responded well to, you know? So, yes, I know that I'm targeting people who are in a more adult mind frame. I am almost 30 years old. I can say this. I do not have any desire to be dealing with people on an infantile level or trying to have friends who are fresh out of school, maybe, who don't have the emotional maturity to handle that sort of a conversation. For the people who are just out of school and who can have that sort of emotional maturity, you're welcome here. There's nothing wrong with that, but just don't expect me to be, sassy mommy. I don't believe those words just came out of my mouth in that order, but yeah, that's the expectation. You know? To be honest, I don't wall out the youth. I've had young viewers who saw my influence and helped them mature in real time. One young man even said I was his favorite streamer next to the likes of Small Ant. And you know what? If that is your niche and where you're supposed to be working, that's your, for lack of a better way of phrasing it, that's your ministry into that person's life, into that viewer's life. I am very much recovering from my isolation period. Very much recovering from that. I'm in a point in my life where my own estrogen is all I need to deal with. I do not need to deal with other people's hormonal fluctuations, which is why I am enjoying being able to interact with guys at the moment, is because I know that you guys are mostly psychologically stable. I know when you're like away, I can expect you to stay that way more or less, unless you're medically in a certain position, you know? Yes, I'm probably going to have some young people come in when they find out that I am not going to be a dangerous person. And keeping that is something that I definitely want to respect and all of that, but I'm not going to cater my way of speaking or my content to necessarily the younger viewers in that sense. I rate myself as not suitable for young children, mostly because I have a lot of bad habits that they should not replicate. Yeah. And I mean, everyone here basically is a streamer. All of us in this chat right now, if I'm not mistaken, is a streamer. We've all got our boundaries, where we want to work, where we don't want to work, what we like doing, what we don't like doing. And it's what we find ourselves actively creating have different target audiences. Okay? So, like Sam says, I don't really need to change how I act anyway, since profanity and innuendo are not in my regular daily behavior and I'm just myself in my content. I just don't feature any gratuitous games at all. Yeah. And that is your niche. That's where you're at. Like me, I'm in my personal case, I'm often dealing with anatomy, and oftentimes people who are less emotionally mature are going to think that I'm thirst trapping when I've not yet drawn clothing on a figure, you know? Or if I'm drawing an action scene and yes, the character's shirt has been ripped off because it's that character whose shirt gets damaged, you know? It happens. It happens. Um because that's my genre, you know? Um I'm also not necessarily going to be drawing the suggestive themes, but it's like I imagine that's a pretty common occurrence for our streamers. Yes, it is. It is. And it's a little pathetic that we have to explain ourselves sometimes, but it's something that happens. I mean, how many times does an art streamer get a raid just as you're busy inking in someone's trousers, you know? And it just happens to be that zoomed in point where you're inking in a fold there by the crotch area, and you've got to deal with, oh, the raid is coming now of all times. Great. Great. And then you kind of have to quickly back up and not be weird about it, you know? Sometimes it happens. Um, it's like especially difficult when you're trying to have the clothing that's just fitting in just such a way. Like the timing when parents walk in while watching the anime. Exactly. It's exactly that. It's exactly that. Like, or when you are doing your studies, or you're drawing that particular frame and the character is facing away from you and there is foreshortening and all you see on screen is butt. Because that's just the way that the frame needs to work in that particular case, and that's when people dial in. It happens sometimes. It honestly happens sometimes. Or like when you're 3D modeling and you're doing character modeling and you have not yet got the clothes on the model that you're busy molding and you're trying to stitch together a joint somewhere and everything is visible. Yeah, you know, it's part of the process. And not everyone is emotionally mature enough to deal with that. And that is one of the reasons why I'm personally not catering to a younger audience. And I also like using a slightly more advanced style of speaking. So yes, I try to keep words simple where I can in the case of people who are maybe not necessarily first language speakers. But at the same time, I don't want to necessarily use a manner of speaking that is something that a fifth grader will keep up with the whole way through, you know? And also, there's also my pace of speaking. Like, at the moment, I feel like I'm speaking at a middle slow pace for myself. But I know for a fact that I can also speak quite rapid fire. So, it's like, all of these things have an impact on the maturity level of what kind of audience you're going to get. And or what kind of language proficiency level you're going to get. Your manner of speech definitely appeals to me. Yes! I feel like I can use my full vocabulary with you, which isn't all too common, to be honest. Yeah, like, I will be perfectly honest. When people use those abbreviations like TBH, most of the time, I have not got a clue what they're trying to say with those abbreviations. I have not got that level of internet speak. My brain does the dumb when I see that a lot of the time. But like, there are bits of vocabulary that I can, yeah, like, to be honest, I've learned, thankfully, that one I've learned, and there are a couple of others that I've figured out, but like, there are there are a few, like there was one a little earlier. What was it? What was it? What was it? Let me just see it. I think Bread said it. It was either Bread or Beer. You said something. a while ago. What was it? Da-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. It was an abbreviation that I absolutely know that I do not know. Can't find it now. Anyway, moving along swiftly. I think it was something like SMH. I think SMH, I have no idea what that one is. Because I figured out, because I've got a lot of writing friends, and that one is often used when we're doing discussions back and forth regarding world building. It's like, why did this character do this? Because this, you know? So because I figured out, to be honest, I figured out, there are a couple of others, but yeah. Like, there are so many. There are so many. I do not have a dictionary. Shaking my head. Thank you, Sky Huntress. Thank you. You have saved a life with that one. I have had no idea what I'm reading when I see that for the last I don't know how long. Thank you. Thank you. I am the dictionary. Hit me with them. I will I will pick your brain when I see those in future. At the moment, my brain is a bag of cats, and I can't remember any of the others that I don't know at the moment. But yes, I wish I could find a dictionary of all of these things because they keep cropping up, and I have no idea. Like, there's probably a dictionary somewhere that's not Open Dictionary because I don't trust that one, because it's all user fed and no one can agree on anything. But like these internet abbreviations, they drive me insane. I do not know what I'm reading most of the time. And it's like, okay, I'll read the rest of the sentence, and if the context still doesn't work out, then I'm going to just not. I'm not going to respond to that because I don't know what I'm reading. Oh man, but yeah, like there are some words that I'll choose to not use as well because I honestly don't know how to pronounce them. Like there's a lot of stuff in my vocabulary that I have filed away as I'll recognize what it means when I read it, but I'm going to try and avoid saying it aloud because I do not know how it's actually pronounced. It's been fun, but I've got to go now and help my mom. Okay, go carry that cake. Hope that the wedding goes well. Not that it's your problem if it doesn't, but yes, I hope that wedding goes well and that the cake delivery is well received and that your mom is happy with your assistance. Hope you enjoy the rest of your stream and can get some rest. Thank you. Yeah, I don't foresee myself going much longer. I also need to handle certain biological functions as well. I'll be in touch. Yes, 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 yes. We'll discuss collab after this thing has been delivered. For sure, for sure. In further detail. Yes. Have fun. Good luck. Go do the thing. Yes. But yeah. So like I've got words that I cannot pronounce. Later, later. Ciao. Ciao, ciao. Like I know the word, I know what it means, but I cannot pronounce it. Like at all. Like, and most of them, I am 90% sure they come from French. Like English is a really, 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 really messy language. Because you read it and you don't know, okay, does this word follow the Germanic pronunciation rules, or the French pronunciation rules, or the Latin pronunciation rules, or the Nordic pronunciation rules? Because it's got English has all of those in a trench coat. Or is this something with a Celtic root? Who knows? But if it's got a French root, I probably am going to butcher it to death when I try to pronounce it. English hard, yes, English very hard. And it's like super inconsistent. Like, I am so glad that English is my primary language because I could not imagine trying to have it as a second language to learn. Hats off to everyone who English is not your first language. You guys, ouch, it is not an easy language. I do not get it. I do not get it. Like, it's English is a Creole language that got old and fixed in its ways, honestly. I sometimes make up the pronunciation of stuff, and it's the first time I read a word, and sometimes it works. Yeah, sometimes it works that way, and sometimes it works out fine. But like, um, regional pronunciations are a mess as well because um, the way that Americans pronounce things is different from the ways that British people pronounce things. Um, and sometimes the rules are fuzzy. The rules are often very, very, very fuzzy, um, depending on the where you are, where you're actually supposed to put the emphasis in a word. And that I think drives me insane the most. Is like, okay, I have a word that's got 5 syllables. 5 syllables, 5 distinct sound sections that each have the potential to be stressed or not stressed, and I have no idea of this word which of those groups the stress is actually supposed to be on, because I cannot find the rule anywhere. um, like, do you always put the stress on the first syllable? Like, in the word syllable, the stress is on the syll, as far as I can tell, you know? Because it's certainly not a syllable, you know? um, or a syllable. It's a syllable. And it's like, where's the rule? Where's the rule, guys? Regional pronunciation is fun, especially when you get to places in the US where it's wildly different. Yes. Oh man, it's it's honestly so difficult to navigate. Like, I'm on and off for the last embarrassingly long, um, which also ties in dramatically with my complete ineptitude at memorizing things. I've been trying to learn Japanese, you know? It's a helpful language when a whole bunch of really useful written tutorials are in Japanese, and it's like you want to be able to read this because I know the squiggle says something incredibly enlightening about how to do this technique that I desperately want to use, but I cannot read it. I need to learn this language. Um, and like I'm at the point where I'm thinking, you know, pitch accent might just be easier than the stresses of English. Honestly, pitch accent must be easier. Oh man. But I don't know if anyone here actually speaks Japanese. I can't get your opinions on that right now. But like, it's just language is a mess. Language is a mess. And it's always evolving and changing. But hey. Speaking of language, one thing that I definitely want to play on stream at some point is Shashingo when I can afford it. Um, I know people have been playing it a lot, but it seems like a really useful game for learning Japanese with, and it's something that I definitely want to do with some degree of haste. Hopefully, now that I'm starting to develop a schedule for my life, I will actually be able to allocate brain cells to that. Because I have been a false starter for way too long, because I've been in the stupid people's phase of trying to memorize the kana in isolation from active use. So I'm looking for things to read that's not all kanji, so that I can actually get used to actually seeing and reading stuff. So I have a goal or a habit that's okay. Read a Japanese tweet aloud, as one of my habitica things. Got that. So that if I see, okay, this one has got enough kana in it for me to be able to sound out, I will sit and I will sound it out before I hit the translate button to figure out what on earth I just said or read, you know? In the hopes that I'll actually start to develop the skill of reading now, because my entire goal is to be able to read. So, if I can read it, I'll be wildly, wildly happier, because from that point, speaking it is going to be comparatively easy, because I hear it a lot. I listen to a fair amount of Japanese music. When I'm playing games that have that dub, I will choose the Japanese dub. So I'm definitely getting the audio input, but I need to do a lot more reading. So in terms of language learning, that's where I'm at, and the only really way to do that is to dive right in as soon as possible, you know? I'm looking for my options in terms of... Actually, I just had a thought. I just had a stray thought. I need to check if on my Webtoon app, the fan translations have Japanese for some of the stuff that I'm reading, that have furigana as well. I'll check that out. Because that's definitely something I need to look into, because that would be really, really helpful. That would be really, 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 really helpful. The other thing that's been going on, that I've been looking into with earnestness, is switching operating systems. I have now been operating for 2 years with a little watermark in my primary monitor saying activate Windows, go to settings to activate Windows, because of someone doing something stupid to my motherboard when the 2021, shucks, it was 2021 riots. Oh my word, that was then already. It was 3 years ago now. Great golly Scott, that was what? When did that happen? Anyway, so I've been sitting with that on my thing forever, and my Windows does not actually fully functional right now. So I need to seriously consider changing OS. So I don't know how or if I will be able to switch to Linux. But I definitely want to do that. When I am back and when this thing is delivered, I'm going to be investigating that seriously, if I'm going to need to... if I will be able to do that on the hot motherboard that I've currently got, or whether Windows is so burnt into the thing that I'm going to need to throw it out and get another motherboard. In which case, the OS change is going to not happen in a hurry. But yeah. Reason being, obviously, the Windows spyware issue is a big, big, big deal. We already know that the CIA are listening on everything we do, because they're everywhere. So, hi, personal CIA agent. Hello, I know you're listening. As well as every other spy from every other part of the country, of every country ever. Hello. But yeah. I'm sick of the bloatware. I'm sick of my navigation between all of my folders in my directories being split up stupidly, trying to account for bloatware. I'm sick of having this activation issue for an operating system that I paid for a license for, and which I could not use that license for the last 3 years, because a repair person in a shop somewhere on the other side of town put in a replacement motherboard with their own Windows license activated on it, rather than actually repairing my motherboard that I sent them 3 years ago. Leaving me operationally with a different machine from the one that my license is tied to, because Windows bakes their OS into the hardware nowadays. And I'm very, very annoyed by this. So yeah, I am very much looking at migrating to Linux because open source is wonderful, in my opinion. Yes, there are risks in open source stuff in terms of compatibilities and all of that, but I've seen people getting Clip Studio to work. I've seen people get it right. I've seen people getting Steam to work. So, quite frankly, the more people get onto the Linux open source bandwagon in the coming year or two, the better, because it's going to force things to just get so much better over time. So, I've never had a good experience with repair shops. Best of luck to Linux. Yeah, thank you. So, you know, interestingly enough, this motherboard issue has been the only time that I've actually had a repair shop problem, where I sent a piece of hardware in to get repaired, because every other time I've had a hardware failure, it was so obviously a replacement issue that sending it for repairs was never ever going to be an option. My previous laptop, the last laptop I ever owned, it died because I literally worked it so hard that I burnt a physical hole in the motherboard. Yeah, that happened. And beyond that, it was... I've actually not had major hardware failures, now that I think about it. I have had corrosion issues on ports, but aside from that, I've not actually had hardware issues, which I'm very, very grateful for, actually, because, man, this stuff is expensive. But yeah, I'm seriously looking into that, so I don't know what the timeline on that is going to be, but after this commission is delivered, I need to investigate that with serious effect, because I'm going slightly mad. Every other day I get a little yellow dot on my Windows saying update Windows. Oh wait, your Windows can't be updated because your hardware is not compatible with Windows updates. And all of the associated nonsense. And the fact that I've not been able to change my screensaver or wallpaper in 2 years, 3 years now, 3 years. I've not been able to change my Windows wallpaper. Amongst other things. I'd like to be able to bring my computer up from scratch, change the names of hard drives on things so that I don't accidentally dox myself, you know? All of that nonsense. And yeah, so I need to basically preserve all of my files. I need to decouple everything software-wise that is on a license that says deactivate license and reactivate it when you're on the new machine. Well, that stuff I need to do. And that's going to be a couple of them. Make sure that I've got a list of all of the software that I actually need on a machine. Choose a Linux distribution. Like, I'm a new user, so I'm looking at something like Mint. Because it's kind of plug and play, more or less. It's got a company backing it. It's got regular enough updates and all of that nonsense. And it's, as far as what the reading I've done so far is concerned, it's got decent compatibility with everything that we need to use. in my creative space. So it will be a learning curve figuring out all of the workarounds to be able to use Linux on stuffs, but an operating system is an operating system. Once you've got the machine actually ticking along and on and working, and you've got all of your software installed and not bugging out, oh stupid stuff, then your actual interaction with the OS is very, very, very limited, you know? So once you're actually working and just doing life, the OS is neither here nor there. So I'm looking at that, but that's probably going to be a soonest rollout of July at the soonest on that. And that still after doing a lot more research. Because if my motherboard that's got the incorrect Windows activation on it is going to be an issue, then it's going to be even longer because I'm going to then need to save up for a different motherboard, which sucks because those things are flaming expensive. And I have not got the guts for that. Before I buy another motherboard, I need to buy a replacement graphics tablet. I've only got 3 nibs left. And those nibs do not last forever. And that's going to cost me 20 grand in my local currency, plus shipping and import duties. And that still... No? That depending on if I can even get a supply to send me something in my country. I actually might need to look at someone doing a forwarding service for me because getting stuff here is just nightmarish. It's actually ridiculous. Like if I have friends in Europe who are willing to help me with forwarding service stuff, I would appreciate that. Legitimately, because this is not fun. It's not fun. Anyway, that I think is where my rambles are going to draw to a close today. We're at 10 minutes past 3 hours. I need to hydrate, I need to medicate, I need to sleep. In that order, I think. Hydrate, medicate, sleep. Because, yeah, I think talking about Linux, it kind of fried the last of my brain cell for today. We got some inking done. Yay. Yeah, I'll scan this video for clips. I'll scan the other ones first. Somewhere over the next 2 days. If you guys have any things that you guys found clip worthy, I would appreciate any clips that you guys might want to share. I know that they get saved on my channel automatically under clips from other people. The bits that you found of value. If you guys clip anything, I really, really, really appreciate that because I am going to want to start doing some video editing. Abbott Internal had a really good idea that I asked if I could borrow, which is basically to say, hey, let's do a weekly summary of stuff, you know? And I need to start getting good at video editing, either which way, because I know that it's important for content creation is to have summaries of what you do, example of what people can expect from you, channel trailers, all of that nonsense. So I need to get into that as an additional skill set because I can't always depend on other people to be able to do it for me. As much as I would enjoy being able to hire people for the job, I cannot afford it at this point in time. I have to go now. Take care and have fun. Thank you so much, Veer. Yes, I am going to call the stream here as well because I too need to go and handle hydration and medication and sleep. So I appreciate you all, and I will let you know if Wednesday stream is happening. I will let you know if Wednesday is happening or if it's only happening on Thursday. Fridays are highly unlikely in my world because the world is loud until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then usually social things happen on Fridays that my family gets invited to and me by proxy. So we'll see what happens. Rest well when you get to it. Enjoy your... What is it today? Today has been Saturday. Yes, today has been Saturday. Go enjoy what remains of your Saturday. And until next time, guys. Cheery bye.